Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Let's Go Elks podcast. Joined by a motley crew, well, some of us anyway. We got a lot of people in the chat today, and we decided to use Zoom for reasons that'll be talked about here in just a minute. But we got the normal group here. Got Wesley McBride on my left on my monitor. I guess it'd be that way. I got Luck Unchanged, Mr. Ethan Holiday. Got Stephen Pena, Mr. Dan Muth, and then we got another group with us today. Gentlemen, would you like to introduce yourselves for us? Tell us just a little bit about you and maybe something that the people don't know.
For having us today. This is quite the motley crew here. Slade Morgan, principal, Round Valley High School.
Jeff Cochran, Round Valley High School assistant principal, assistant athletic director, and I like to turkey hunt. Oh, there you go.
Really? You like to hunt?
Yeah.
No kidding. That's
Big
Find out something new every day.
Yeah.
I'm Mike McClellan. I'm the principal at Round Valley Elementary School. In case you haven't seen me out running, I like to run. And just roll the window down and say hi. Good to see you.
John Allen, principal at the middle school. Pretty vanilla, so just not much.
See, John, we didn't have to edit any of that out. We're good. That was all solid right there. But so running a little bit, it's kind of funny that you start noticing people's gaits and how they run. And my wife and I, like, from way down the road, be like, no, that's McClellan, that's got to be. And sure enough, because everybody runs just a little differently, and so can spot him coming down the road. But
I'm like an old man now.
is that what it is? They'll call it the old man gait?
Every time I've seen it, it's like, I look like that now? Ugh. At least I'm still doing it.
Yes, that's it. I hope to be doing it when my hair is the same color as yours. Oh wait, I don't have hair, so I guess whatever. But gentlemen, we're joined today by the principals and the assistant athletic director for the high school. We're very humbled and thanked that you guys would join us. Being socially, well, some of us are socially distant, some of us are throwing caution to the wind and conference rooming it up together, but that's all right. So
None of us have a temperature right now.
you on the way in? Did you check on the way in? Everybody's under 100.4, so we're okay. But what we wanted to take a few minutes to talk about is we wanted to get some information out there just for the parents, for the students, just for the community around Valley, really just to help everybody out just a little bit. And so we have just a few questions. Feel free to interject with anything that you have that your facilities are doing or things that you see happening. But just to open things up, we'd love to know how are your educators, how's your staff, how are you using technology in a new or creative way that we've never had to reach our students and staff?
Yeah, we're just learning something new every day. I mean, we've had a lot of professional development in terms of using technology for instruction, but I think this whole thing has been really good for us because it's forcing us to have to do it now. And so, different teachers are picking up new things and sharing it across Google Classroom, and it's been really great.
We've had teachers at the elementary school who share things on their Facebook. They've got classroom Facebook pages, and they use that to keep in touch with people, and they're sharing things. And like Mr. Morgan said, we're all learning how to do a little bit more. This is new for, if not all of us, at least me, having a Zoom podcast.
We've been able to have faculty meetings via Google Hangouts. Had an AD meeting with Zoom. What else have we been able to use? I think those are the two mediums we've been able to use the most. They seem to work pretty well.
Oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
We have quite a few programs that we can use from the schools that elementary teachers are making good use of. IXL, Moby Max, Fast Forward. I know I'm missing a few, and those can all be used at home. District has opened up so that kids can read books and do an accelerated reader test from home, and so all that kind of stuff is happening. We know that as we flood the community with all these options, in some ways we've made it hard for parents because of bandwidth all that stuff. But we're really working to try to give opportunities and options to people.
Do you see things slowing down in the week to come? I mean, obviously, it was just a flooding of information. Being a parent of 3 elementary age school children myself, seeing AR get opened up so my daughter could read her books, and getting William on Moby Max, and Rustin's in Google Classroom at the middle school. Is there going to be more and more stuff like that coming? Do you feel like you've gotten over the initial hump? Where are we at getting information out to the parents?
I think a lot of that came about just because not everybody had login information, and we still have our secretaries who are working throughout this. So if parents need help, with district login information, they can contact the front office, and those phone numbers be forwarded to the secretaries, either like Hillary or Amy Bell at the high school. But I think as we go along, like what you said, it'll kind of calm down quite a bit.
I think the platforms that are being used, I don't see a lot of change coming with that. So those will remain pretty similar to what they are. I think from the school standpoint, we're just trying to figure out what works best, and then bringing us all in line with each other so that it's not like you're talking about your kids having so many different things that they're having to work through. So we're just trying to be able to experiment in some regards, and then be able to streamline those so that we're more consistent throughout the district.
Okay. Stephen, actually anybody else on my side of the panel, any comments on just your first week's experience? Anything that you've seen your kids when it's come to the use of technology, and how that's coming across in your class, in your homes? It's a classroom now in the home. I know we've got a little one over there in the corner, but how's things going for you guys?
I know with us, I've got a high school son and a middle school son, and they've both worked about 4 or 5 hours a day, have each on a laptop. Middle school's doing a lot of Google Classroom, high school is too. And so it's been quite active here. Took a while to get a couple of class codes, but that smoothed out. And so it's been pretty good at our house. As mom and dad, we've had to, just check up on them. Hey, have you got your homework done and things like that. But for the most part, it's been pretty smooth at the high school and middle school level at our house. But as a teacher, I'm tired. It's been a crazy week as a teacher, but just adapting as we go.
Ethan, how about you? How's it been for more on the younger side of the crew?
For the most part, it's been good. It's definitely been interesting trying to, teach 3 different kids, 3 different class levels, and give them the attention they need. I mean, it's been very lucky for us that I've been home all week, because if it was my wife, alone, I could see it be a lot more of a struggle. Again, we kind of talked about it last week, but I'm just, we're blessed to have the resources and the extra computers laying around to make sure we can have a couple kids working at a time. And I can only imagine for, other families who maybe don't have that luxury, how much more difficult it would be. But for the most part, it's been pretty good. I think the kids are doing well with it. They're adapting, just the typical problems you would have with kids, keeping them on task and keeping them working. But my daughter was so excited to see that the AR test, came online. She took a test this morning, got her 11 points on a book she read, and she couldn't be happier. So, good job.
So Ethan, you spoke just a little bit about the struggles of some parents, some households that may not have all that technology, that may not have it available to them. For households that may not even have the internet, speaking to the principals, what can we offer those parents in the community that may not have all of those resources at their fingertips?
So every Wednesday, for example, last Wednesday, we had all the teachers come out in front of the auditorium. And for those students that didn't have the internet, we had homework packets for them. So, like Stephen said, teachers have been working really hard, both online, but we also have to ensure instruction for those students that don't have the internet. And so they had to create paper packets for those guys. So we had a lot of elementary school students that came out.
We got some feedback that a a lot of parents are having a struggle with the technology and having a struggle with bandwidth and having internet and having enough devices to keep their kids busy. So we did get some comments centered around, we like the packets, but at the same time, as a school and a school district, we need to grow and try to make those capabilities a little better. Some people have a device, but not the internet. And there are several places in town, I'm not even aware of all of them, that people can go and park, but then the parent has to be there and to get the internet. So I don't know how good of an idea that might be, but it is a struggle. And the district is working on some strategies to help those kids that don't have Wi-Fi at home and maybe devices. And there is some active work going on trying to help some folks out.
So obviously we don't know how long this is going to last. I mean, we're literally taking this a day at a time, sometimes an hour at a time. Out at Tucson Electric Power, sometimes we're seeing things change just so rapidly as we try to accommodate, as we see changes come from the federal and state level. Some of the struggles that parents may be seeing are, how do they know that their child is progressing, even though it's just been a week? But I know we worry, did we get enough done? Are the kids getting the work done that they need to? Obviously this is a moving target, but do you have any advice for the parents that are worried about, are we doing enough, and how do we make sure that our kids are on track in our home classrooms?
I think one of the good things, to take as a positive note, we came into this spring break, so we're getting ready to go into our testing, which is about a month after spring break. So while most of the standards, I would say, have already been taught and have already been learned, and so generally during that April and May time period, our teachers are enriching. They may be teaching some other standards that are not as non-essential standards. So a lot of the learning that kids have already had are the essential components to really their school year. So that's a good thing right there then and of itself. So as far as learning new content, I wouldn't stress about trying to buckle down and have them learn new stuff. Just follow what the teachers give and have that faith that what they're giving is really what they need to be learning.
And along with that, I think another thing that we're striving to do is maintain communication with our parents. And I believe across all the schools, we're asking our teachers to at least once a week, I know middle school and high school, for their first hour classes, contact parents once a week and just check in and say, hey, how's it going? But I think as a whole, parents have email addresses for teachers and, can ask questions to them. At the high school, we forwarded all of their classroom phones to the teachers' cell phones. So if they need to get a hold of a teacher that way, they could do that as well.
Would you recommend that being the first line of contact if a parent has a question, is to hit that email address to their teacher?
Okay. Teacher email address. And sometimes teachers are busy throughout the day. If just you're not able to get in touch with somebody, just give me a holler, and then I can reach out to that teacher.
That's appreciated. It's a different kind of busy. I know that one of my sons already has a Zoom meeting scheduled for next week where the teacher's going to try to get some of the kids in a Zoom meeting where those kids can see each other a little bit and hopefully have some interaction that way. And so it's neat to see some of these educators already grasping onto the technology and finding really neat ways to bring the kids together, even if it is socially distanced, right? They're at least going to be able to see each other, tell some jokes, have some fun. If my youngest once has said, "You're not Miss Hamlin," to my wife. He said it 1,000,000 times. And so my wife's, she's doing a great job. And then, like Ethan said, we've been able to tag team the teaching a little bit this week, but we're definitely not Miss Hamlin. So a shout out to Miss Hamlin in the first grade for taking care of William so good. We're trying to live up to that level of educating. You talked just a little bit, Jeff, about that we're going into the testing side of where we're at school-wise as we kind of wrap up the school year. I know one of the big questions I've heard parents in town have is what will happen with state testing. Do we know is there going to be any change? Is there going to be any modifications? Do we even know yet where we're at there?
Well, the ACT was a really big positive that we're looking at this year for our students, and being able to give them the opportunity to take a very meaningful test that can have impact on their college. That's a big blow to us. And so I believe, and Mr. Morgan can correct me, but they have pushed that.
Did you guys just get muted on your end? I'm not able to hear Jeff. Ethan, is anybody else able to hear him? We might be having a little technical situation.
I couldn't hear him either.
Okay, about mid-sentence there, we lost Jeff.
Not muted. Can you hear us now?
Oh, you're back now. Jeff, sorry, pick up about 20 seconds ago if you could, please.
Right about the ACT stuff.
Yep.
So the ACT, we were really hopeful that we could give that to our students because it's meaningful and has an impact on them being able to get to college. But it looks like that's going to be pushed back. If we come back, we are looking at still being able to offer that to our students. If not, then we're trying to work it out to our juniors this year, might be able to take it next year so that they can have that on their transcripts and on their records, something that's meaningful for them. As far as the state level, based on what I believe the federal government's come out with, they've relaxed state testing and have given the opportunity for states to issue waivers for not testing. So what that looks like, I think we're just waiting for more guidance on the state.
Yeah. So Doug,
It's been mixed. So.
Yeah, we'll probably have some real specific information from the Board of Education, in the coming weeks, but it's probably looking like that.
Okay, so definitely some peace of mind to mom and dad at home to be able to, like you said, just keep doing what the teachers have in the packets, just really try to keep things going on a daily basis and not stress about the state level testing, not stress, because I know my daughter, she stresses about that AZM2 test. She's telling me about it, and she's in 3rd grade, and she's in one of those hinge years where it's really important. And so I think that burden being lifted is going to help them out a lot. So some of the fun stuff that I've seen you guys do is it would be fun for me. It's been really neat to see the lunch line. Can you guys speak a little bit about how the lunches that you've been able to provide to the students and to the families and how that went? This is the first week that we did that, correct?
A lot of fun, handing out lunches, talking to people, finding out what they're doing at home, encouraging them, asking them if they cleaned their room, tell them they have to clean their room before they can eat their lunch, stuff like that.
I think it's definitely one of the best times of the day is to be able to interact with the kids and the community, and be able to provide some nutrition for those people. I know Joe Stoiber, who's our central kitchen director, him and his crew have done just an outstanding and phenomenal job of being able to produce between 400 and 500 lunches a day, and their work is just evidence of their commitment to helping kids and make sure that they have the food that they need.
That's awesome. My mom works at the district office, and she brags on Joe all the time and the work that group does. And so it's neat to see some pictures of them. Neat to see them really getting it done. I see that we're doing like a middle school book return where they're going to be able to bring their books to that lunch line. Are there other things that you're going to try to incorporate with that lunchtime to try to bring either information to the parents, or is there anything else that we might see during that time frame?
I don't think so right now. Just on Wednesdays, so after they pick up their lunches, they can drive around to the auditorium and pick up those paper packets if they need to.
Okay, so for high school aged kids, it'll be at the middle school. Or, I mean, at the auditorium there. Sorry.
No, it's district wide, all 3 schools.
Okay, is there a time frame on that Wednesday?
11 to 1.
11 to 1 on Wednesdays at the auditorium for packet pickup for your kids. That's fantastic. And again, that book, the library book pickup Monday or Tuesday at the middle school from 8 to 11, I believe, this coming Monday and Tuesday. John, is that correct?
Yeah, we'll do that each Monday and Tuesday from 8 to 11 at the middle school, and then from 11 to 12:30 at the lunch pickup.
Now, is there anything kids can do? Because there's only so many AR books that we have in the house here. Are there options or resources that we can give our kids to where they can continue doing that kind of reading? I know we've got Amazon Free Time and a Kindle, so I know that my older kids are able to kind of dial into that. Are there resources that you're aware of that we can tell parents and students about to where they can do that reading, either online or on a device?
I think they just have them contact, or when they talk to their homeroom teachers, they should have that information and be able to give them guidance regarding that.
Fantastic. With all the changes that we've been seeing, have there been any new policies, any new procedures or practices that you guys have implemented that you've seen beneficial, even in the short time that we've done it, that you see possibly going forward after the pandemic's over, maybe next school year? Are there modifications in how we work that you think might stick into the future?
I think there might be, but they haven't been identified yet. There may be something with hand washing that we try to get a little better at. The elementary school, I don't know. We were set to enter everyone through the cafeteria and wash their hands right when they got to school every day, starting last Monday, but we didn't have to go to school, so that didn't happen. But that's something to think about, and if that might be something that helps stop the spread of germs.
I see there being a really big lessons learned no matter what field you're in. There's going to be a lot of things that we do to take back. Can we work more in a hybrid fashion? Are there things that we can use more? Can we leverage the internet and Google Classroom a little more just on a daily basis, right? In a normal day-to-day classroom. So look forward to seeing that.
There's a
Wes, can I speak to that?
Well, sorry, Stephen, go ahead.
I was just say, as a teacher, I definitely see things that I'll do different next year in the future, just based on what I've done this week. I'll leverage Google Classroom much more. Like one thing, posting videos of my lessons, I can do that on my smartboard. That's why I've been pushing instruction out to my students. I'll be able to do next year. My plan is to do that every day, put those online, use Google Classroom for those kids that are gone. They can always pull that up, or kids that just need a refresher of what we did in class, they'll be able to pull that up. And so that's something that I'll be doing in the future because of this benefit I've seen of it this week.
I can definitely see it having a bigger impact in the older students that we have, especially those in sports, being able to get that homework and get those lessons that they may not have gotten otherwise because they were on their way to a game somewhere. And so in that vein, Jeff, can you tell us a little bit about the impact that we know and some of the uncertainty around sports? As the athletic director, what conversations are you having right now, and is everything literally just up in the air right now?
Yeah, so the AIA really is bound by what the state level determines, and moving forward based on the recommendations the governor comes with. The AIA will really have to kind of follow suit as to what they dictate. Having said that, we did have an AD meeting this past week. If we do come back in mid-April, we are looking at still continuing on with the spring sports season. It will be a condensed version, but we are already looking at that and what it might look like for students. So really it's all just up in the air right now as to what the AA is really able to do based on the state. So I know I've talked to the coaches, kind of shared that information with them. You know, our heart goes out to the seniors, and you know, this is their last hurrah. And you know, I can reflect back on my senior year, and as I'm sure we all can, and the impact that athletics had on us, you know, our senior year and what we look forward to. And our seniors are really the ones that are really going to be impacted by this the most. And, you know, we are saddened for them. And we're just hopeful that we can put together some semblance of a season.
So, Jeff, you talk about that impact to the seniors. I want to pivot just a little bit to Principal Morgan. Do we have any answers around graduation right now? I know that's a ways down the road, and we're hoping to see some things progress and things change before May, but do you have any information for the parents and those seniors right now?
No, we don't. I mean, our next steps are going to be to reach out to parents and just kind of come up with contingency plans. I am optimistic that there will be a graduation of some kind. What it will look like, I don't know. But we definitely want to involve our parents in that decision making and our students as well. So I have a feeling in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have more information to share with you regarding that. But once again, I'm an optimist. I really think that we're going to have something for them.
That's fantastic. And I know that those students the same way. That's what they're wanting to see, just like any senior in his senior year of track or baseball or graduation. That's one of those memories that you lean back to. And so whatever iteration that graduation takes, Let's Go Elks wants to be there to live stream graduation again. And so even if it is limited access, number of tickets, whatever that might be, we love to be part of it that way that we can help get it to grandma that can't make it there physically. So Mr. Muth, you had a comment for us. Let you break in. What do you have for us?
Well, I see this as a paradigm shift for several reasons. I really like that the schools are embracing the online education and the experience. I think that's an awesome tool, and I think it's something that should be looked at as continuing in the future. But one thing that I was dismayed with was I learned very quickly that my daughters can do wonderful things with their cell phones, but their computer literacy is abysmal. They just, they had a hard time with getting on the computer and finding where they needed to go and doing things. And I found myself spending a lot of time just helping them get started. Now, once they got started, they did great, but it was getting them to sit down on the computer, figure out, going into Google Docs and some of their assignments and things. Today I had a young man in my office. I was letting him use one of my computers here, and he was having a hard time getting his calculus homework, just getting it to download, because he's got no computer experience. And he was a little dismayed that he couldn't just do it with his phone. And I was just taken aback by that. I guess I'd taken it for granted that, everybody knows how to use a computer, but that's just not the case. A lot of it. What I'm noticing is in the three examples that I had directly to me, I had to sit down and show these guys how to access the information and actually manipulate it in order to get their assignments done.
Well, and unfortunately, Round Valley had a very strong computer program 10 or 15 years ago, but budgets and change and direction being what it is, we've seen a reduction in some of those programs. But with that being said, because I'm a product of that program, I'm a product of Barry Williams' Network Academy, his computer stuff, the things that we were doing with Tammy Cantel, the individual that were there when I was in high school. But I have been pleasantly surprised at the level of the elementary and middle school kids, that my first, third, and fifth grader, at least, they know how to log in, they know how to get into Google Classrooms, they know their links, they know elks.net really well. And so I've been pleasantly surprised that I plugged them in, turned it on, and they're getting in. The hardest thing for us has been the new teacher codes for Google Classroom and stuff, but that's been a struggle, I think, universal. It has been for everybody. And so I think we're going to have struggles both ways, those that are going to struggle with technology inherently, and then people that just grasp onto it as well. And so I've been, on my side of the coin, I've been pleasantly surprised with how the kids have latched to it. Ethan, do you have any comment on there? How have your kids approached it? Again, you have younger kids, correct? All elementary school aged?
Yeah, all elementary school students, and it was awesome because, day one, it's like, all right, your teacher said you have to log into Moby Max, you have to log into this site, you have to do this, have to do that, and I was ready and waiting and trying to find out if they sent information with login stuff, and the kids already knew it. They just got on, logged in, and started doing their work right away. And so for the elementary school students, they were pretty on top of it. I was very, very satisfied with them getting on, and they just knew what they were doing already. So I don't feel like we've had to do a whole lot of computer training so to speak, but definitely how to stay focused while on the computer. And yeah, that's kind of been our struggle, I would say.
Oh, I think we as adults have that exact same problem. I squirrel because there's way too many things going on, and so I don't think that's universally a kid issue necessarily as much as it is a technology and just a 2020 issue, right? It's the world we live in now.
That's true. When I was in college and I had a second screen, I was half as effective as I was when I had one. But
But you looked twice as productive though, and that's what matters.
that's true. But talking also to the first part of Dan's comment about it being a shift in the way we do things. I remember in college was like the first time I really started using computer technology to try to aid my education, because I was taking classes and sometimes you wouldn't understand things. You'd have to go and you look up YouTube videos. How do I do it? If this guy couldn't explain it, you could find 4 or 5 teachers until you could finally find the info you needed presented in a way that you could succeed. And so I've always been a huge believer in the online learning realm. I know when I was studying to take my MCATs and other various professional tests I've pursued, I was all looking up different YouTubes, different people who have posted things, and that was in a lot of ways one of the only ways that you could do it if you were on a budget, because the other alternative was to pay $3,000-$4,000 to take a physical class where they would teach you. But I didn't have those kind of greenbacks in college. So
Well, Stephen, I definitely want to get your take on how you've seen high school people grasp onto the technology and how those students have been able to take it, to see if that's in line with what Dan's seeing with the kids that have visited him. But real quick, I want to jump to Jeff, because we're talking about paradigm shifts, and the only sports not being affected right now is this. Just recently, the AIA has accepted and is looking at eSports for the first time. And we spoke last time on our last podcast about League of Legends and about Rocket League being recognized for high school kids to be able to do that, and wanted to get your take as an athletic director of what do you think of esports in general, and how do you see that lining up with the students that we have in Round Valley?
I mean, this you're gonna have to edit this.
In all fairness, this wasn't on the show notes, and I didn't mean to bring it up until we started talking so much about paradigm shifts. But because this is Rustin, I asked Rustin this question when I first read this article by the AIA, and even my son that loves video games but also loves baseball, wrestling, soccer. Rustin. If we're not on a horse or on a field, he's asleep, right? And he told me, he's like, what, Dad? I think video games are nice, but I don't think they're a sport. And this is coming from a kid that I think would be all over being like, well, yeah, that's a sport. I'm in it. Give me League of Legends or Rocket League, because they play Rocket League on the Switch. But what are your thoughts as an athletic director?
Mr. Morgan and I have had quite a few talks about this, and the way that I look at it is we definitely have a group of students that this would be geared towards. It would be great for them. To see them be able to come together and compete. I'll be honest, I'm not a gamer. I don't know what it would look like, but I think we definitely have, a group of students that could really thrive at that. And if that's an opportunity that we can put together, moving forward or in the future, I think that would be awesome for them.
Esports and video gaming does lend to critical thinking, spatial awareness in ways that traditional kids that aren't athletes are able to leverage those strengths. And so it's something that Ethan and I have talked about, and I would encourage you, if you have a few minutes, listen to our last podcast, because we talked about it at length. But I know that Ethan and I would both be interested in sitting down with you and Principal Morgan and having that conversation, and how we could help, if there's a space for that, helping provide that technology or that direction for those kids, because there's lots of leadership ability there, especially with League of Legends helping direct, the groups of what's going on.
I don't know those games, but it's probably like anything else. Right now, it just sounds so new and like I have no idea and whatever.
Right.
10 years from now, we'll be like, oh yeah, esports, yeah. It's like an everyday thing. So I think the more feedback we get from parents and our students that, hey, we would like this opportunity, we'll respond.
So once again, for those watching this episode, please leave a comment below and let us know what are your thoughts on esports. If you're interested, please reach out to Let's Go Elks or to Principal Morgan or Mr. Cochran. We'd love to sit down and have that conversation and say, does it make sense? Because I believe you're right. I believe there's a group of kids that really would thrive on an opportunity like this at a high school level. And so, sorry to spring that on you. Just when Dan said paradigm shift, that's the first thing I thought of, because this is the only sport the AIA houses that I think isn't being affected by what's going on right now. Because I could minimize this video conference and start playing one of those games, right? If anybody, all of us could, we're all in front of a monitor, we could be playing League of Legends and be esporting it up. So I think it's cool because there's a space for that with technology. But before we leave this, Stephen, I want to pivot back to you really quick about your perspective as a teacher. How do you see students? I know we're only a week in, so it's a little premature having some of this conversation, but how are you seeing the kids? How are they grasping to the technology? Do you think that it's working? What could we do different?
I think they're doing pretty well, but most of my students that I've seen and talked to, both online, live video, they're using their phones. Most of them using their phones. We still do have a computer program, school technology program. My wife does that with her business classes. A lot of teachers use Chromebooks in their classroom, so they are getting exposed to it, but it's just a generational thing. They are more comfortable on a phone. We do have a handful that I've communicated with that are using laptops and their cameras on the laptop to communicate. But I did have some. I did a hangout with my class on Wednesday and Thursday. I had one student on Wednesday that she's having trouble getting connected with her phone. She's talking to her classmate over her phone, and we're like, go get on your laptop. And she didn't want to do it, but she did. The next day she was on with her laptop, I believe. But they are more comfortable with your phone. And I think they think, and we think that, oh, you can do all this stuff with your phone. A laptop or desktop isn't going to be that big of a deal, any different. But I think once they get into it, they should know their login from the school and those things. A few of them have forgotten. But I think once they get up and running and get started, like Dan was saying, they do fine. But sometimes just opening a window in Google or Edge or whatever browser that they're using, and just some of the technical things, logging in that way or downloading an app that way, is a little bit more of a challenge to them. Is just not in their wheelhouse like it is with the phone. But I mean, my kids, they use both. They didn't miss a beat this week. Your kids, Ethan's kids, didn't miss a beat. So I think it's household by household, but they are definitely more comfortable on their phone.
To the principals, is there an asset that we can direct those parents that might be struggling a little bit more? Where should we direct them to go to if they are struggling a little bit with technology? Is it straight back to their teacher? Is there an asset at the school? Where should we go if they say, I don't know what Google Chrome even is?
Right now, it's back to the teachers.
Okay.
That's where we're at right now, and then the teachers will communicate with administration if they need some guidance and help with that issue.
I know, only speaking for myself, the teachers that my kids are participating in, they've been really responsive, really good. We've had just a few questions on, well, is AR online yet? Or what's this username or password? Or where are we at? And so again, just a shout out to the educators, the elementary and the middle school, because those are my people that my kids have really gotten the resources they need in a timely manner. And so hopefully we see more of that in the near future there. Before we leave sports, Jeff, I want to jump back one more time, and I'm just squirreling all over the places. 2 episodes ago, we followed up on the board meeting talking about possible litigation following Northwest Christian. Just big question mark with football next to it. Do we know anything new? The schedule? Do we know anything? Like, where are we at purely with football for fall of 2020?
From what I understand, due to the state closures, I believe that they have moved the date back to when that hearing will be. From what I know, it will be in early May. Again, it's still kind of moving around because the AIA had a few schools that were trying to get into the AIA for competition. A few schools have left, and so with the scheduling component, I think there's still some things to be worked around. So I know that's unfortunate news, having it pushed back, and that's really all that I know right now.
Okay, so there's more information to come. Keep watching Let's Go Elks. Watch the school's official page. There'll be more information, but it sounds like it's going to be late into the school year, possibly summer, as those state offices come back online. That we'll get more information there as we get a somewhat of a football schedule. Look into the fall and any changes we may have there. So thanks for that.
Yep.
As we kind of wrap things up, we do want to talk about those official channels where parents can go when they have a question, because I know my kids are just screaming about elks.net, and that's what they say about everything is, well, Dad, just go to the school's website at elks.net. There's places they can click and they can go. I was looking at it just a little bit ago, and I see there's a bunch of posts going on. You guys are doing a really good job at the district level at getting that word out. There's also the school's Facebook page, Round Valley Schools, where I've seen a lot of stuff coming out. Are there any other resources that you would like to direct the parents, the students, things that they should be looking at when it comes to information about school or just announcements in general?
I think so. I think you said pretty much all the different places that parents should go and look. Website, Facebook. We realize that not all parents have Facebook. We also are able to send out mass emails to parents, so be checking their emails. If you have not received an email from the district or from your child's school, reach out to one of those phone numbers of an administrator on the website just to make sure that we have the correct email address for you. Robocalls, almost feel kind of bad, like we're kind of inundating our parents from so many different angles. Whether it be a robocall or an email. But that's our goal, is to communicate with our parents. And what's my quote? The problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. So we're trying to get communication from all angles.
We also have the marquee. The marquee, they try to keep that with the most up-to-date information, and they slowed it down so you can read the whole message before it leaves. So I think if it's really current, it's going to get up on the marquee fast. But Round Valley Schools, the Facebook page, elks.net, all those, like Mr. Morgan said.
Fantastic. We will try to keep up. Oh, sorry, did I miss somebody? Go ahead. Nope. Okay. John edited himself. That's all right. So, and again, we will post anything that we can on Let's Go Elks as well. You can follow us at Facebook /Let's Go Elks or at Let's Go Elks at pretty much every social media platform. Again, we started out as a football crew, and we've expanded to more, and really we're covering pretty much anything we can school-wise now. And so anything we get, we will pass on to Facebook. At Let's Go Elks is our primary contact. But please, those official contacts for the schools, facebook.com/Round Valley Schools, and then also elks.net. www.elks.net is the school's official website, where you're going to get those up-to-date posts. There's information, there's contact, there's calendars. You get there, you're going to find it. And again, if there's something you can't find or you're not getting those emails, please hit that contact button and find the email address of the individual that you need to reach, and they will reach back out to you. Again, I've been really happy with the level of response that we've been getting as a parent for my children. So again, big kudos, Mr. McClellan, Mr. Allen, to your educators that are taking care of my kids. It's very well taking care of my kids and taking care of my wife's sanity at the exact same time, I guess, because it's been a week. But just as we put a bow on things, we want to reach out to those people that have classrooms at home now, because we've all kind of made makeshift classrooms. Send us your picture to Let's Go Elks, tag Let's Go Elks. Let us see what it's like with your crazy kids in your crazy classroom at home. We'd love to see what's going on. Again, that's facebook.com/Let's Go Elks or at Let's Go Elks at pretty much all the major social media platforms, or at letsgoelks.com. To finish things up, the last thing that we want to cover is we'd love to give each four of you an opportunity to just address your students directly. The parents, you could take them or leave them, but take a second and just reach out to your kids, whatever you think's pertinent. And so, however you guys want to cover that in the room, start one way, go the other. The floor is yours.
Yeah, well, we just want to tell them we miss them a lot, but at the same time, our goal is to not let, just because we're online, those relationships diminish at all. And, I think our goal for this coming week is to put more videos out to kids, to have those Google Hangouts where we're actually talking back and forth and, learning and growing together, even though, it's an electronic type. We're not face to face, but just finding new ways to maintain those relationships. I know Lisa Muth has some ideas for this coming week about maybe putting together some dress up days and things like that to have a little bit more school spirit. And of course, we would be doing it, all through sharing photos and stuff, but we look forward to what ideas she has. And just exciting. And Go ahead,
I echo that with Mr. Morgan. We miss our kids, miss seeing our athletes out on the field. The halls are empty, and our hope is that we can get back, and especially for our seniors, be able to have them, finish out their senior year. And there's a lot of excitement that goes with that. We're hopeful for it. Miss you guys, and we're hopeful that you can stay on top of what your teachers are giving you, and look forward to seeing you guys again.
We just want to make sure that elementary students know that we miss them. Your teachers, guys, are working really hard for you, and they want you to be successful, and they want you to be positive. There's going to be some things that are tough to do in the packets or the online. Just focus on the positive. Just keep trying. Keep reading every day. I read something about a good thing for kids to do, and probably adults too, is to write in a journal every day. This is a historic time that we're living through right now. It never happened in my career, and who knows, it may never happen again. But just keep it positive, keep smiling. Try not to lose in learning. Practice makes perfect. Just keep working at it.
Yeah, we just at the middle school, we had the opportunity this year to meet as a student body every morning for 15, 20 minutes as a student body and just talk about things. And we spent a lot of time this year on how we interact and that. And so really I am missing that part of it. I was talking to one of our teachers earlier today, and he was talking about in one of his Google classrooms and the students making comments and just how helpful they are to one another. And so what that's like. And so it's just that communication, that being around one another, that
Looks like things might have hung up on the high school's end. We'll give John just a second to come back here. Ethan and everybody else, are you guys seeing the same thing on your end? A paused video?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Okay, so we'll stand by for just a second. Oh, they're back.
Back.
Quit watching YouTube videos. John, you were waxing eloquent. What?
Start over, John. It's over.
Yeah, you got all of it again. No, honestly, one of the coolest things that I think hearing you guys all talk has been the human element. That every part of this has been how much you miss the students, how much of it is that social aspect of what you do in your job, something that was lost on me until this moment, hearing that. And so it's amazing to hear how much you guys really do care and how much you miss having the students. I can only imagine how quiet the high school hallways are right now. I can only imagine just that it's eerie that there isn't things going on right now.
That's and how our hallways are all the time. That's how we like it.
Ah, okay. Well, gentlemen, I know I can only imagine the hours that you guys are putting in right now. I can only imagine just the stress being up all over the place. So please give your educators a high five for us. Let them know that they're doing a great job in your guys' next Zoom call or however you meet with them. But just know that we appreciate the work that they're putting in. Stephen, you're one of those educators. We appreciate all your work and effort. Dan, your wife, again. Ethan, you are now an elementary school teacher, so small high five to you as well. But you guys just thank you for what you do. I appreciate you taking care of my children on a daily basis. And so I appreciate you taking an hour out of your day to meet with us.
Thank you, Wes.
So guys, if there's nothing else, that's going to wrap us up for this episode of Let's Go Elks. Again, you can find us at Let's Go Elks at all the major social platforms. I'm at Wes McBee. I'm Wesley McBride. To my left, let's see if I can do it right that way with mirrored audio or mirrored video. Ethan, take us out.
It's sorry, I was trying to unmute my mic and it slipped out of my hand. So very professional. Just been a good week. Really enjoyed spending more time with the kids and appreciate all the hard work all the teachers have been doing. Keep it up. It's been awesome. If you want to get a hold of me or let me know what you're thinking, Luck Unchanged, pretty much everything.
Dan?
The only thing I can say is I'm really impressed with how the school stepped up and met this challenge, and I think the leadership in the schools has been outstanding thus far. So, gentlemen, my hat's off to you. You've done a great job considering the circumstances, and continue to do the good work.
Stephen, any last thoughts from the high school teacher perspective?
Miss my students. Comes down to that. The FaceTime or the Hangout's been great this week, but it's hard the first day. I got emotional, kind of like I am now. One thing I want to add for Mr. McClellan, I was in Mesa last night on our way to dropping off Paul, and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, their son is elementary age. They've been back for 2 weeks. They've gotten one brief email from their school. Then they did a little parade through the neighborhood on Wednesday, saying hi to their students, but they have received zero guidance. They have not had one assignment given. They've created their own assignments. They've been given some websites or whatever that students can do to keep busy, but they were very impressed as we were talking about what we are doing here. They're tremendously impressed by what our elementary schools been doing compared to what they've seen in the Mesa School District. And they just shout out to Mr. McClellan and those teachers down there.
Thanks. We have some amazing teachers.
Well, gentlemen, one more time, thank you so much for a little bit of your time. Our hats, except for Ethan's, are off to you. You guys have a fantastic weekend, and we look forward to the next week at school at home. So for Let's Go Elks, I'm Wesley McBride. You guys have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.